Hey folks, how you doing? Robert here. Karen Cheney tagged me in a video on what I would take as the one implement I would take into the woods with me in a survival situation if I had the choice of taking nothing else. Myself, I would prefer two things. I would prefer a knife and fire. You know, in the environment here down in Nova Scotia that we live in, it's usually pretty damp and it's usually pretty cold. So in any given situation, I would have to say I'd have to take fire, right? So I would probably take a magnesium bar or fire steel ferrocium. I mean, fire, in my opinion, I think fire over everything else. Like, you can construct a shelter. I mean, it might not be the best shelter in the world. I mean, you know, I'm not really good at making fire with a hand drill, so, and I mean, without cordage, it's hard to make a bow drill fire. And I mean, you'd have a few things on you anyway. You'd have cordage, but you know, you'd have shoelaces and stuff. But I think the biggest thing, I think, is fire. Like, I've spent a lot of time out in the woods, and I spent a lot of times at nights where I've been cold, and I'll tell you, above anything else, you go lay down beside a fire and you can keep yourself warm. You know, one of the biggest killers, I think, in the woods is freezing to death, is hypothermia. So, you know, you can build all the shelters you want and you can still get hypothermia and die. I mean, without a fire, you're almost completely done. And I mean, unless it's summertime, unless it's real warm, but there's been lots of people that died in survival situations in the summertime because of being wet and hypothermia. You know, it don't take much of a, you know, people that froze to death and had hypothermia and died in temperatures that have been above zero. So, you know, and I'm talking Celsius, right? Where the freezing point is zero. So I think fire out of them all is the best thing. You know, I mean, I can find caves, I can find evergreen trees that are so thick that I can go in and break the branches off. You know, I can find sharp rocks if I need to do stuff. Really, this here is 2-in-1. This here tool is 2-in-1 because you have a striker and you have your ferrocium or your fire steel. The striker itself can be used as a knife. It's high carbon steel. You can actually sharpen it. You sharpen it before you go. This is a knife you can gut with this. It's a small knife, mind you, but I mean, you can still do everything that you can do with a knife. Like, if you got to catch animals, you got to clean fish, any of that kind of stuff. And I mean, you can make fish weirs, so you can do all kinds of stuff to procure food. I mean, but to process plants, do whatever you want. But the fire steel, I think, in my mind, is the biggest things. A lot of different people choose a lot of different stuff, but I think fire, and I think the ability to make fire, is the way to go. Because with fire, at least you're always going to be warm. You're going to feel a bit safer too when you're in, you know, an environmental situation where, you know, or a survival situation where you need, you know, comfort. I mean, fire will do that for you. And you know what? You know, a lot of people say, well, I wouldn't be scared. But, you know, it's a different story when you're lost and you're out there, you're alone. I mean, there's a lot of weird sounds in the woods at night. I mean, you know, different story when you know you can make it out. When you can't, and you know that you're lost and you can't, there's no way to get out and there's nobody coming to rescue you, or, you know, there's stuff is happening in the world, and, you know, it's fire make you feel that much better. I mean, it gives you the ability to purify water and the whole works, right? But anyway, that's what I would do. Thanks for tagging me, Karen. I appreciate this. I think this is a pretty cool little video thing to do. But me would be my fire steel.